Hello everybody, I am Nazia Fatima and I welcome you today to our interview round. Today we have a very special guest. He became the Chief Justice of Patna High Court in the year 2016. In 2017, he was appointed as the Chairman of Punjab State Human Rights Commission. He is none other than Justice Iqbal Ahmed Ansari. So I would like to begin with my first question, that is, what are your thoughts on human rights violation in India? And do you think CAA-NRC violates the human rights?
Human rights is taken to be or assumed to be a new subject. It's not new. This subject is a subject which had been there, whether recognized or not recognized, since time immemorial. Say for instance, today if somebody outrages the modesty of a woman, we will say it is violation of her human rights. But imagine the situation when we did not even properly clad ourselves and we were moving from one place to another like nomads. If that was the situation and a woman's modesty was attempted to be outraged, could she resist? Whether she was capable of resisting or not, our answer has to be that yes, she had a right to object and she had a right to resist. Whether the society recognized it or not. So the human rights were there even then. And that's why human right is said to be the right with which a person is born, and which right is necessary for the purpose of making him live or making her live with dignity. So whatever is required to live with dignity is human rights. Now, as far as the CAA or NRC is concerned, its constitutionality has been challenged in the court, and it will be eventually for the court to determine whether it is constitutional or not. But as far as the human aspect is concerned, if anyone's, because many rights depend on citizenship. Indian Constitution gives right to both citizens and also non-citizens. Say for instance, the life of equality is not only for citizens, it is for non-citizens also. And as far as the CAA is concerned, considering the fact that it leaves according to those who oppose it, many of the Indians from being treated as a citizen of India. Obviously, if this is true, then in that event, it's a question of violation of their human rights, because they will be denied all those rights which are available in India to a citizen. That's how it is. And as far as the NRC is concerned, that exercise has been found to be very defective. We have already seen in Assam. It's almost ends. The worst part is that when you are incarcerated in a prison camp, it's an open prison. Can you imagine a situation where men and women, children, they are all living together. They have no place to properly bathe themselves. It's really very, very undignified. And that's why to that extent it is violation of human rights. There is no problem with the enrollment of the people who are Indian citizens, not at all. Nobody can raise any objection, but the law has to take care of the fact that not a single citizen is harassed. We have seen already experiences from Assam, though assurances were there from the government, both the state and the central government, that no Indian will be harassed. But eventually we have seen a large number of people were found to be foreigners whose nationalism is in question. And secondly, what will you do with these foreigners? If Bangladesh refuses to take them, because we only say that they are from Bangladesh. If they are from Bangladesh and Bangladesh refuses, we can't shoot them. We can't throw them into Bay of Bengal. So where are we going to take them? Are we going to keep them lifelong incarcerated? So that decision has to be taken by the government. And unless these aspects are looked into, there will be serious violation of human rights.
Moving on to the next question, that is, how to navigate the legal challenges faced by the Muslim community in India.
And it is not that only a Muslim is incarcerated. Even a Hindu young man, many Hindu young men have been imprisoned and they are in jail. The violation of their rights, if they have, is a violation. Now the tragedy is that it is the Supreme Court or the High Court or the courts in general which have to look into, interfere and deal with it properly. If the courts administer the law in accordance with the manner in which the law has to be administered, then there is no question of denial of human rights. The problem arises because the courts overlook, or the courts may overlook, the provisions of law. Otherwise, sufficient guarantee exists in the Constitution to give protection to everyone. But if it is violated, obviously it is the court which has to come forward, step forward and do the needful. It is unfortunate that today questions are being raised on the way the judiciary functions, and for this the judiciary itself is to be blamed, because there are many cases of habeas corpus which are not being taken up. There are thousands of cases where bail applications are not being considered. Even if they are considered, they are rejected, not being allowed. No good ground is furnished for not allowing an application for bail. So these are violations of human rights, and it will be very difficult. Basically, we have to make the judiciary aware of the pitfalls, which nobody is doing, because any private organization, they cannot really make the judiciary aware. It is to be done by the High Court and the Supreme Court. But neither the Supreme Court has carried out any kind of exercise on this subject, nor, to my information, any High Court. So whatever wrong were there in the judiciary, it has continued and perpetuated. It is of course a fact that the situation had not been as bad as this, because I was a part of the judiciary. This kind of situation was not there. If there is an application for habeas corpus, a writ of habeas corpus, that used to be given the top priority. It always used to come on the top of the list. I have been to 2 high courts. There's the Patna High Court where I was the Chief Justice, and the Guwahati High Court, which used to deal with 7 states: Assam, Meghalaya, Nagaland, Manipur, Tripura, Mizoram, and IMPAR at one point of time used to have a lot of habeas corpus petitions. But we gave them priority and dealt with the matter. It was unthinkable that a writ petition would not be taken up for orders, which is now happening. And if I have seen an interview in some TV channel of Mr. Salve, who also agreed and said that yes, during our time, habeas corpus petitions used to be taken up at a very fast pace. Today that is not happening. One bail application may be taken, another bail application is not taken. Rather, one bail application is taken up, but thousands and lakhs of bail petitions are not taken up at all. So judiciary is to mend the way. So navigating will mean making the judiciary aware of it. That we can do by way of, obviously you can't organize a program, but it can be written, it can be spoken, and the government will have to allow.
You belong to the northeastern part of India, and you have been involved in the socio-cultural and politics in northeast. So do you think the northeastern part of India, most neglected part of the country?
Northeast unfortunately had been a neglected part of India. On that there can be no doubt. And because of the fact that the people were generally very docile, their rights were continued to be violated. And when the people were that, and that is a very dangerous thing for any government to face. But when you continue to deny somebody's human rights, one day it may become a major issue, major problem, and that's why Northeast saw so many movement of terrorism, extremism, secessionist activities. These are reasons that the people were too unhappy or considered Union of India as their enemy, because the question of secession or separation from India it means that they thought that they were not getting the same very facilities or privileges which others were receiving in India. And for this you can't blame one particular government. Government after governments have been like this only. And here even the politicians from Assam have to be blamed because they did not protect, and they are perhaps still not being, they are not being considerate, I would say, to the people of Assam, or rather the Northeast.
According to 2013 census, there were 4.2 lakh people in Indian prison. Almost 20% of them were Muslims, as against to 2001 census, where percentage share of Muslims were merely 13%. So what do you think is the reason behind such rise of Muslim prisoners?
There are quite a few factors, there is not one. If I have no means of livelihood, I will not allow myself to be starved to death, generally. And then what will I do? I will resort to crime. So basically, the Muslim youngsters do not have avenues of engagement for their livelihood, and that is where the society and the government have to step forward and do the needful. Secondly, level of education amongst the Muslims is very low, and where the education is not available, you will find that these problems are continuing. Thirdly, statistics have also shown that those communities which are backward, their number of people in the jails is higher for two reasons. They don't get the legal assistance which they need, because though the law provides for legal aid, but legal aid does not mean poor legal aid. So the kind of lawyers who are to be on the legal aid panel have to be good advocates. They can't be just anyone who you put because of the fact that he has no other case. There, the role of the court again becomes very material. Role of the state government, central government become very material.
How do you think there can be improvement in the socio-economic status of Indian Muslims?
The organizations, social, political or socio-political organizations amongst the Muslims, and not necessarily exclusively of Muslims, will have to work for the upliftment of the Muslim condition of the people of Muslim community. Their level of education has to be raised, their level of income has to be raised, their outlook where they are wrong need to be corrected. That can be done more easily by the people of their own community. But as far as the economy is concerned, it is here that support of other communities is required. Not only support from other communities, but even of the governments are required.
So my last question to you is, how do you associate yourself with the organization Indian Muslim Policies and Reforms, in short, IMPAR?
You see, IMPAR, my role is minimal in the sense that they requested me to become some kind of an advisor, and which I suppose because I have liked the idea with which the organization appears to have been formed. And if it continues to deal with the way it is dealing, because I am finding that it is quite a secular organization, and though it speaks for the Muslim, but it is not only for the Muslims, it is for every person who is denied justice, who is denied the right in the governance of the country. So that way it is an organization which can be of immense help, provided it gets the kind of support which is desirable from the society or needed from the society.
Alright, so this was Justice Iqbal Ahmed Ansari, who enlightened us about ways to deal with the legal challenges faced by the Muslim community, along with the negligence of Northeast India and his views on the organization IMPAR. So this is Nazia signing off for Aspire Media IMPAR. Thank you so much.